hope you stub your toe. This has to be personal
This
now.
dude, this is already such a great game just from the pre-lobby or just from like the lobby chat. Like I certainly hope that there's this much talking in the actual game. And a fun little fact I learned about the Riot client, or like about spectators in Riot like client and shit. Like early on in the game's history, they just like got the spectator in as a teamo on the enemy team or on one of the two teams, and they just sat in fountain the whole time with an unlocked camera.
So, Avery, so you're the coach, and I see a Sejuani ban. Hopefully, I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
I feel
Sejuani.
like you and I, like the students, they pick that a lot. If I'm not wrong.
It was a more common pick, at least 2-ish plus years ago. Nielsen played it quite a
Okay.
bit, but
So this is
probably a
a
targeted
target ban.
ban. Yeah.
Yep.
And then the
Yeah,
Blitzcrank will
okay.
be a targeted ban against Drew in the support.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, on the student side, we've got for this game. Let's see, we've got Dakota top, Anders jungle, Trung middle, Nick ADC, and Gensi support, which is our normal lineup for like season play at nationals right now.
So go over like the fearless. So from what I know,
Yes.
once they're played, you can't play them again for the rest of the BO5. But the like draft bans, they don't go into like the fearless ban pool.
Correct. Yeah, all the champions from both sides will be added to the ban list. So neither team can pick either or can pick any of the champions in subsequent games. So by game 3, we'll have 30 automatic bans plus the 10 draft bans. So 40 champions will be banned in game 3, and then
That
more
is
each game, obviously.
that is absolutely insane. Like I kind of want to see this go to a Silver Scrapes now, just for the fact that like we'd see some really niche picks.
Yeah, we'd see some really interesting team comps for sure.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily see like the Vi Nocturne that you might potentially see out of a team.
Oh, they got the Jin ban. I know that's a
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's. I see
That's
the
a fun
Hui
game.
too. Yeah, these are they are not holding back.
Yeah,
No,
on the alumni side, there's Dustin in the top lane, followed by Josh, Royal, Zach Nielsen mid lane, um, and then I think Parker is ADC and Drew is support. So Dustin top lane is the other coach who's also an alumni, and then Nielsen and Josh were both players on the team a few years ago before they graduated. So that's just kind of and then Drew and Parker are both just alumni. They didn't play on Panther Esports because it wasn't
but they played
around.
League.
Yeah,
So
but they played League.
yeah, I can attest to that because like I've been in a 5-man before, or I've been in a 10-man before, just because you guys needed like an ADC or something like that. I
I
just
have
happened to be
also
around.
done that. I thought we were five stacking like a comp game, and next thing I know, it's a scrim, and I didn't int too much, too much.
Okay, okay. Kaisa Nautilus coming out here for the alumni.
Yeah, so the Nautilus will be
Yeah,
with Drew, and from what I've kind of learned about Drew over the past few weeks is that he likes hook champions, so you know the Blitzcrank,
Yep.
Nautilus, um,
yeah. I
which
wonder
is a
if we'll see
very
a Pike.
yeah. I do anticipate a Pike at some point, either a ban or a pick. Our bot lane is kind of notoriously not been great into hook champions in the past, so it'll
Yeah.
be really interesting to see bot lane
I
how
I
that
feel
plays
Oh,
that.
out.
they secured the Rakan Zaya. All
Rakan's
right,
oh,
all right. Both teams kind of locking down the bot lane pretty early here.
Yeah.
I love a Nautilus pick.
Hmm.
Nautilus is so fun to play with.
Yeah,
He's fun to
He's
play as.
he
not many
definitely
characters.
makes sure that there's a lot of action in the game when there's a Nautilus.
Yeah.
Especially
Ooh,
when you
Cho'Gath probably top. Could also be flexed mid though.
Yeah, could be
In
flex
current
mid,
meta.
probably top, just a safe ish blind pick,
Yeah.
but You can definitely get hard countered top with it, so I'd imagine they're playing it at flex right now.
Yeah. I think of all the champions that are like in the meta right now, I feel like Cassante is one of the ones that's like pretty safe to like first pick if you're like picking top lane.
Yeah, Cassandra used to be a lot more difficult to play blind, but with some of the tweaks over the years, he's definitely shifted to a little bit more of a safer blind pick, and at this skill level, anyways.
Especially with like his all out W doing true damage as well, it makes his level 6 a lot more lethal.
Yeah, any top laner that is pretty tanky is going to be pretty safe blind. You know, Ornn, Cassante, Cho'Gath to a certain extent.
Ooh, there's the Ornn ban coming out from the Alumni actually.
I also like the Darius ban because the only two lanes or whatever they have left is the students have less is top and jungle, and from what I know, Darius is pretty strong in jungle right now. And can be played top.
Okay, looks like they're gonna answer with the jungle ban themselves here with the Xin Zhao.
I think my understanding of the UNI students side is they'll have the most info on top lane and support as far as like what is actually played. I think they're probably just going off of recent matches in op.gg. So the Zen could be a nice targeted ban against Josh, or it could be something he played twice in the last 4 months.
Okay, here's a Nocturne.
Boo.
Nocturne was something Josh played a fair bit with you and I.
I'm honestly a little surprised though, because like, well, you do have follow up from the Nautilus on like a Nocturnal going in. You don't really have much else. I don't
well,
feel
the Kaisa,
like. I mean,
the Kaisa can follow up. But Gwen, I think would be a really good pick for them here.
Yeah, because Gwen's pretty decent here into pretty much any top laner because her Q does so much. Looks like they're gonna get the Vi pick here. Which would be interesting because then it would prevent them from going like Vi Nocturne. That's their last combination. And a Poppy ban actually.
Yeah, so it looks like Cho'Gath will be flexed middle.
Yeah.
The Nocturne serving double purpose here, getting that ban away from Anders in subsequent games for sure.
Yeah.
And the Poppy is locked in, so they're readying up in client right now.
Yeah. I'm honestly a little surprised that both Vi and Nocturne came out without an Orianna on either team. Because I know that combo can be really good because you just ball Nocturne or Vi and then you just send them into the back line and ult.
Yeah, that's definitely a classic combo. It's kind of difficult to pull off the timing really well if you haven't practiced it. Yeah. Just because you ideally want to start the Orianna ult animation before the Nocturne reaches his destination, and if you don't have that timing down, it's really easy to waste that Orianna ult in a suboptimal spot. But actually, this draft is really interesting because both teams have a ton of engage, which is not too unsurprising. So there should be a lot of fighting and a lot of clashing going on, a lot of tools for both teams to get fights started, which is why I think the Poppy pick last is kind of a really smart move from UNI Alumni, because that's a really good disengage tool if you can hit multiple champions in the follow-up fight. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays out like that.
Yeah, it's also a really good counter into like Rakan and Vi trying to go in as well.
Yeah, Ari dashes, Rakan dashes, Gwen dashes, Vi dash, like tons of dash. Poppy just gets so much value in this pick.
And then, of course, Kaisa has like 3 other teammates that can stack her passive with CC.
Hmm.
So she's probably just gonna have to wait for them to get full stacked from just the passive CC that's gonna be happening, and then just hit them once and blow them up.
If I had to verse, if I saw in my comp game this UNI alumni team, like just the champions they have selected, I'd probably alt F4 because I would not want to play that game.
Yeah, it's
Cho'Gath, Nautilus, Poppy, they got some pretty decent HP.
yeah the
Then
big beefy front line with
and then
Kaisa diving to follow up.
Although I feel like the Gwen is gonna get some value here out of that though, because I believe her Q does max health true damage,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
true damage, magic damage, I believe. But
A lot
I
of
would also have to
champions on
double
both
check that.
sides are pretty good into into the other side here, so it's a definitely
Yeah,
a really interesting draft. And you can tell just at a glance what both teams want to do. It's kind of a first team to pull the trigger might win the fight, especially if it's
yeah,
Nocturne and and he turns the lights off, and it's just really hard to coordinate through that.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see here. Oh, it is true damage in the center of Gwen's Q.
Yeah,
Okay. But yeah, it'll be really interesting here trying to for which if we're gonna see like a level 2 or level 1 even, like both these teams are probably pretty strong level 1.
yeah, especially the Nautilus hook, and
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
passive CC, Cho'Gath probably
Oh
starting the
yeah.
queue as well.
I mean even Cho'Gath starting the silence too is like it makes
That
it so they just can't flash away.
yeah. Yeah, we've definitely coached in the past and presently, this the sort of the safe 5 point start. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll see if once we get into game, if both teams kind of just adhere to the really safe starting positions for game one.
Or if we end up in a ranked invade where nobody
Hmm.
wards Tribush and runs away.
Yeah, the I do think the alumni team has a better invade, like I was saying with the Nautilus. But
Yeah.
Anders on the UNI students side has been he's his jungle knowledge. He's master rank player. He
Yeah.
can take advantage of the jungle setback. So the more knowledge you give Anders, if you don't get something out of an invade, you're just giving Anders more tools to play with.
Yeah. And I feel like knowing that he's masters now, like masters level like knowledge of the jungle, like if
Hmm.
you invade his red side, he's just gonna go take your red side.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. And is really smart with his pathing and knowing the enemy jungle timer. Usually his jungle timing is pretty on point.
yeah.
And especially like comparing that to Josh, who's playing Nocturne jungle for the alumni. Uh, you know, Josh is, him and Nielsen were a really potent duo for us. They have a lot of good chemistry. Nielsen, the mid laner, so
Yeah.
we yeah, I kind of do expect some plays to be made from the alumni side, despite the perceived skill gap between Anders and Josh.
Yep.
they're twinning the Zaya and the Rakan.
Yeah.
That's W.
They are. They are.
Love to see
Now,
it.
I have to wonder if that's the one of the Zaya Rakan sets that has a special special back
Recall.
with the double recall, or if it's just gonna be the standard double recall. Because I think some of the skins do have a special back animation on the double recall, besides just like the base one that the pair has been given.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Working on getting the
30
game.
seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah.
All right.
I need you to have some bias here. Avery, who do you want to win? I know it's a tough question, but I need to hear it from you.
The coach in me definitely wants the students to win. We want them firing on all cylinders. We've got week 2 of Nationals next Tuesday. Little trading going
Fight
on
top
here.
lane.
I do expect the Poppy to walk away at some point once the Conqueror stacks with Gwen. Yeah.
Honestly, I think if Gwen started Q there, they probably could have killed, but I think the E was probably a safer pick.
Yeah, and then
Or
they're
safer
both gonna reset
ability here.
as expected.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I do kind of want the students to win. You know, like I said, just because it means that they're firing on all cylinders for nationals. But you know, a little humble pie before going into week 2 of nationals could always serve well. I do think in general, like the ranked, if you take the ranks for each team at face value, I do think the students are ranked slightly higher on an aggregate basis. But you know, the players on for the alumni, you know, might be ranked like silver, you know, gold kind of stuff, but their skill levels are definitely higher. They just don't play a lot of ranked in the competitive season.
I wish I could say the same about myself, but alas, I'm addicted to ranked.
There's a level 2 engage from Rakan.
Yo.
Oh wait,
Looks
the
like...
what?
Oh.
Oh, the barrier though.
Yeah. No, it looks like the students definitely won that trade here. They might look for a counter engage here with their own level 2.
He's in a tricky spot. Doesn't have the Kai'Sa.
It honestly,
follow-up.
it honestly looks like they just
another
win
rook.
that.
Oh, that's.
Yeah,
Oh, they
students
just
are gonna
won
take the
that.
first one.
I
And
thought
of
it
course,
was.
they could go for a dive here too because Vi is showing up. I think they will actually look for it. Bot lane here. Yeah, they're gonna look for the dive.
Poor Kai'Sa.
Anders is gonna look to pick up tower aggro here and flash out, and everybody's out. And you and I,
Pretty clean
students, up
dive.
I feel this Kai'Sa's pain. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah, it's good pathing from Anders to get down there
Yeah.
for the follow-up gank.
Oh, looks
Oh,
like
wait.
Gwen might lose this.
Yeah.
That's no flash, no TP for the Poppy now.
And they both have to be careful because they both have
Oh, the buckler!
red like a book.
Oh, the buckler. Just...
I'm expecting to see
chunky.
something in chat here.
Oh wait.
Yeah, there was already a little bit of
Yeah.
chatter going on
We get early
before we
yo.
loaded in.
It's almost bedtime. Oh dang.
This Cho'Gath is on mana too and pushed under tower. That's
I definitely think the wave state for the students here is in a better position, but it could honestly just be that they just shoved it out.
Josh setting up a lane gank here with his bot lane.
Yeah.
So ideally they want to crash this wave so that it'll bounce up, but Nick and Jets here playing it pretty smart here and pretty safe. They know their weak side. Anders is only just now in his red side, clearing down.
Well, I'm kind of getting chunked out by the Poppy though.
That'll be the trade pattern from both can be pretty devastating if Gwen
Yeah.
gets her true damage snips off. And Anders is circling around and try brush here. And this is not looking good for the bot side on the alumni.
No.
Nocturne shows
Looks
top,
like-
so they know
Oh, the true damage there, doing some good work, but not able to secure anything.
this is all but a foregone conclusion here.
Yeah.
As if they can get the
They even engage
get the
here,
early
too.
kill. Get
They,
something back.
they aren't able to
Okay,
secure it
that's
though. Oh wait, but they did. And they even got feed off of it too. It's the third kill that they've gotten. Looks like Ari here with
Ari.
level 6 already.
yeah,
Just
little
able to... Why is they not able to run away there?
yeah,
unfortunate flash too.
Nick stepping
Yeah.
back up to try to help secure that kill. You know, Parker stepped up to to secure that kill on the Kaisa. A bit of an overstep from the students. And I would even say that Ari roaming down was a little overcommitted because it allowed Shogath to get to push middle and crash a wave. So the Alumni, you know, obviously definitely lost that bottom in the 2-to-1 trade, but getting the mid push in and crashing the wave helped neutralize it a bit. And obviously the students do get the dragon in the follow-up.
And I think it was good to go straight for the dragon there because you know that the Nocturne was just top lane with the gank on the Gwen there. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go back top here after he's done with grubs.
He's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, got the Ari out of there.
Long.
Secured the Void Grubs. Follow fight here.
But it looks like Poppy might die for this though. The Gwen probably dies trying to confirm the Poppy kill.
Yeah, Alumni need to be careful with the re-engage. They can walk away here.
Doesn't look like the catch from the charm there.
1 for 1, but the Void Grubs do go to the Alumni.
Yeah.
In the end.
So that these students here have to I think they have to pick up 2 in order for them.
Oh,
sidestep. Spell shield. Good
Oh,
flash.
he lives it too.
And Dustin here
with
can. I don't think he's gonna look for the wraparound kill. A little dangerous still, but very well played by Josh.
Oh yeah. And I think they might have gone further with it had the Poppy TP not been popped there on the wave.
Yeah, they could have just followed through on the turret and caught it on the way out, but the Poppy TP was well timed by Dustin.
Yep.
See what the gold's looking like. All the money for the students is on Vi.
Although it's pretty even bot lane with the overall gold that's been. It's on both champions, but there's about I think a 200 gold, 300 gold difference on the supports. But that's not the
hit level 6 already before anybody else in the bot lane. Don't know if they're gonna do anything off that. Probably not. Could happen.
It definitely gives them an extra tool to look for and engage here. And with Nocturne level 6 here too, that also opens stuff up quite a bit. It is a little surprising though, seeing supports hit level 6 before the actual bot laners do.
Yeah. Good sidestep on the true damage. Poppy basically has permanent priority on Dakota's Gwen.
Good E there from the Rakan, so that he didn't get caught by the Nautilus duck.
Both junglers floating bottom.
Yeah.
Trying to catch the other.
But do you see the Ari coming down as well?
Yeah, Ari floats on over. Yeah. It's good. Good safe positioning from Shrung. He's able to he's able to clear the wave mid before the choke out. And just wander down for that. Oh, good flash from Poppy.
Flash out from Poppy there. But probably gonna
And the wall.
Stand a little too close to the wall, and Poppy will just send you right into it and hit you over the head with a hammer.
Yeah, I think that's the second time now that Dustin's kind of flashed away when they're both down at one hit territory like that, and then he waits for his W to come back up so he can just W and walk up, and Gwen can't really dash away from any of that.
Is he gonna get a root? Does get the kill?
Yep, there's the root.
Yeah,
that's one of the threats of Xayah is that like you have to keep an eye on where her feathers are, so that you don't accidentally walk into a grouping of 3 of them and potentially get yourself stuck out of position.
Not sure if Nick's been practicing Xayah a whole lot in the past few weeks. Definitely not in the normal champion rotation. Usually it's the Jhin or the Aurelion Soul, a little bit of Caitlyn.
Aurelion Soul. That's one that I don't see hardly at all bot lane.
Yeah, it's the sort of when Jin's been banned. Oh, we got a fight starting here. I almost missed the Q.
Students able to pick up a little bit of damage here. Trade, Nocturnal popping.
A good focus on the Vi. That's where all the damage is.
Yeah.
For the students.
It looks like using the Ari ult to try and get away, but it looks like Ari's probably just gonna get stuck here unless she can get the kill onto Cho'Gath and get a reset, but it looks like it's not gonna happen.
Good spacing.
Down goes the Ari and the Vi. 2 for nothing.
Yeah, it was good spacing
Herald
for Nielsen
Viper.
to not walk up into the Ari Q. Kind of the opposite of what Nick did bot lane earlier. He says, I've got my teammates here, I'm just here to watch.
Kaisa ult went out. Kaisa will win this potentially.
Oh
He's
wait.
not quite back
Oh,
up. He's in the trade.
Really well played by Nick. That looked really dicey
Yeah.
for most of that fight. All sums blown for both AD carries in that fight.
Yeah, that was definitely a nail biter there. I was a little surprised that the E actually came back up at the last second there. Just leaving the Kaisa at 1 HP rooted under turret.
Yeah, Nick
Love
sort
to
of
see it.
barrier baited him there. Dragon secured by Anders.
Trying to keep him from going over the wall there, but he has to flash. Couldn't quite get the Q over.
Forcing the flash out of Ice, kind of big there.
Yeah, because then she can't Q flash ult into your backline.
Yeah.
Onto your Kaisa. Which is actually something that's really interesting, is that there's 3 members of the alumni team that are there basically just to peel for the Kaisa, and the Kaisa just gets to sit in the back and just do as much damage as she can.
Alumni committed to a fight they weren't prepared for. Nocturne ult's not up yet.
It's a Poppy TP coming in.
Looking to
Might
get
get
one back.
Rakan down low, but you and I able to collapse, answering that. I think they answered that TP with Ari's TP.
I
No,
think
I'm
Ari
not
just
mistaken.
Ari was down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just good communication rotation from from the students. So taking a quick look at the cat walked over the keyboard. Taking a quick look at the items here. Got Triforce on the Vi, Stride Breaker, Nocturne. Gwen yet to finish her item, sitting on 800 gold. Should be able to complete that. Leandri's out.
Looks like actually a Rift Maker.
Or excuse me, yeah, Riftmaker.
Yeah. And it looks like Zaya's going for Yuntal potentially.
Yeah,
That's what the
that's
build
what it
is.
looks like. Oh no. Yuntal's got the slingshot.
Oh yeah. And what is Zaya building then? It's like the BF sword could go into a number of different things.
Actually, you know that? Yeah, because it's not Yuntal, because Yuntal doesn't have ability cooldown.
Yeah. I don't think it's a Navori Flicker Blades, but it could be.
I feel like that's usually a second item for Zaya.
Yeah.
Sitting on 1200 gold, so I'd imagine he's resetting after this next wave. Because we double items on this other bot lane.
Yeah. You and I, the student's tempo seems a little off compared to the alum, but I think overall having spent more time on the actual rift, they've managed to pick up a little more gold.
Yeah, gold's sitting pretty even. All
The-
the gold's on the top side for
Trying to catch the Poppy out here. Vi commits the ult, and the Gwen ult also committed.
oh good
The
ultimate.
Poppy ult just able to disengage completely. Ooh, here comes the Nocturne ult too.
Oh,
Zaya able to ult, not quite able to do anything with it. Still alive though, but
Kaisa's gonna pick both of those up.
yeah.
And one back.
Kaisa
for
might die for
students.
that though. Yeah,
yeah.
Those are the
goes
Rakan,
up to
but
yeah. Oh, it was Ian Paul. Okay.
he picked up the Caulfield's Warhammer before finishing
Yeah.
Yuntal. It could have just been a circumstance of a couple of bad back timers, but that's going to be a
Yeah.
delayed Yuntal stacking for Zaya.
Yep. I feel like the Clawfield Hammer is probably going into a Navori, if I had to guess.
That's
not-
probably what I would guess as well. Yeah.
Look up the item building for that here.
We do see alumni get the first tower though. I wonder, does it show how they are on feats at all?
Feats. Let's see.
Oh, they got it. If you look at the dudes, the alumni.
Yeah.
Got feats and strength.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gwen finally feeling a little confident in fighting the Poppy here. Poppy took
I
more of
think
a
that-
scaling build with the Thimble Winter.
Yeah, I think that Rift Maker also is a really good power spike for Gwen too, because it gives you a lot of Omnivamp, or it doesn't give you a lot of Omnivamp, but it gives you enough to keep you alive in a fight for a long duration.
Dustin maybe felt the pressure behind him. He's trying to keep this wave outside of
Ooh, yeah, unable though.
the. Yeah, he didn't want
That's
that
a
wave to
good
crash.
bounty too.
Yeah, that's a decent shutdown. The Gwen there too. And it looks like, oh, they're gonna collapse on the Kaisa. Yeah, good ults from the side of the students.
Yeah, really good sequence here from the students.
Yeah, looks like they might try and root here with Zai. Yep. Zai also just does a whole bunch of damage too, because it's kind of like Rend on Callista, where each feather that comes back through the enemy
Winter
champ,
and Dragon
it
Blade.
does,
Oh,
like-
and the follow-up.
ooh,
Charm just
might even get the
barely
pick on the Nocturne, but yeah, they're not going to commit to the follow there. They do open up mid. It's that Rift Herald charge.
3 really quick dragons at 18 minutes for the students.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A lot of neutral objective control.
Ocean
They're
Drake
sitting in
will
a
be
really good
the-
spot.
Yep, Ocean's gonna be the soul here, which is actually, if the alumni could prevent any more dragons from going over to the students here, would be a really good soul for them. Speaking how tanky their team is, it would just make them even harder to kill.
Yeah, and that's sort of the jungle diff that we were talking about in draft, where Anders has matched Nocturne CS and his kill participation, both with 6 kills and assists apiece, but 3 dragons to the students versus 0 to the alumni.
Although I feel like the alumni have gotten 2 sets of grubs though.
Looking to make a play on
So,
the Ahri
it's
to
not
get
like-
their ults down.
Yeah. It's not like the alumni have been completely non-existent in terms of neutral objectives. It's just that you and
Yeah.
I, it's just the students. I keep wanting to say you and I and some other team, but it's both you and I.
No matter what, it's always a jungle diff. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good catch on the Ahri in the bot lane
Yep.
by the Cho and Nautilus. Surprising that they had the damage to pull it off, considering
Yeah.
this Cho build is the Shirley is. Really
I
in
do
trouble
believe
here.
though Cho'Gath ult is down though off that fight, so they kind of traded ults there. The Ariel the Cho'Gath ult, but in my opinion, I think trading that is definitely a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
The
do.
side of the alum.
Yeah, Nielsen was able to get the kill with his ult, so he'll get that feast stack. Always worth it. Ooh, Trung, looks like Trung picked up a Dark Seal. Kind of interesting considering his
Interesting.
scoreline right now, but I think the thought here is, he's got his Rod of Ages stacked, and he's going for Leandri's build, so he'll be able to take a hit into this relatively low damage alumni team comp. Obviously the Kai'Sa's got good damage and the Nocturne does, but Poppy, Cho'Gath, Nautilus doesn't add a whole lot of the burst damage. She'll be able to adapt in the evolving 4v4s and 5v5s as the game goes on. But
Yeah.
definitely still an aggressive pickup.
Especially here because it looks like they might even. Looks like the alums are actually getting cut out or caught out here. I almost said cut out. Although that Otacon damage though, apparently.
Alumni are looking,
Helping
Poppy's
inside of
looking
the
for
alum.
Poppy's looking to TP here as well. I believe.
Yeah. Big charm from the Ahri, but not able to do much with it except for get the Q.
And now the Ahri ultimate is down if a fight breaks out again. Nocturne ult is up, so the students are pretty vulnerable right now.
Yeah, the side of the students having both Ahri and Vi ults down kind of makes it really tough to try and get into that back line. I mean, you do have Rakan, who can dive pretty easily, but he doesn't have much follow-up to...
without the R
to
and the
keep-
vials to follow up.
Yeah, to keep the target CC'd. That's definitely for sure. Oh, and here goes that ult now.
Really interesting engage on this Nocturne. That's Rakan
Yeah.
down now.
Students.
Students need to be careful here on this fight that they're taking. They don't have a whole lot of tools.
That's some really good damage from the Xayah there. Xayah just gonna keep going. Looking for the double. Unable to get an E off. If that E had popped though, I think the Nocturne definitely, because he was right in front of where all those feathers would have came from.
Yeah, really interesting that neither
Charm
top
missed
laner.
there.
Oh,
Ooh, and it looks like
Trung's in trouble, but he
Ori
gets the
might
Gwen
die
TP.
here.
Poppy gets the turret top for it.
Ooh,
Oh,
big damage from the Ahri there.
yeah, really well played by Trung, catching
Yeah.
Parker out.
He's gonna keep looking for this Nocturne too. Not gonna find the charm there. Looks like he might die for it. Oh, and the Q doesn't come back and hit, and that's like all the Dark Seal stacks gone.
I still got one.
Yeah, he's got one.
Yeah.
Nocturne's got a chunk of change. Should be able to finish Sterax.
Yo.
Or get close. Oh no, he went for the next plate first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Nocturne-
definitely think that's a really good item to build on Nocturne here.
Yeah, double items on Poppy, Nocturne, Cho'Gath. Actually, every alumni member's got 2 items now, and the students still have Ahri and Gwen to finish their second.
Looks like they're gonna get collapsed on here.
It's good
Caught out.
rotation.
Yeah. Gonna pop the Rakan ult to try and get away here.
Pop the Nautilus flash, but the
Oh, and
Nocturne
here's the
follow up.
Nocturne ult.
We're gonna get him. Chasing the Vi down. And should be able to secure this Drake finally. One for Alumni. Gwen's gonna take the
Traded
top
ult for
turret.
ult for the kill. Ooh. Oh, and Xayah gets caught out here.
Oh,
potentially.
the
a-
big ult.
It's a key. The ultimate's down.
Yo, I think that's most ultimates down except for Cho'Gath.
Poppy's gonna TP top.
I can't quite tell if Ahri has her ult back up, but
Ahri
I
does.
believe.
You gotta be careful.
like-
This Gwen's scaled.
yeah,
Does have ult though.
gets sent back towards the fountain.
I think it's an important little test for the Poppy to make here because he's got 2 items and 2/3 boots into a 1-item Gwen, and that is not a fight that Poppy wants to take much longer.
No. I feel like the Gwen is going to find a lot of value here in the team fights and just being able to kind of stay in the back line
Got another fight
for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, Gwen's Dakota's game plan here on this Gwen should just be to sit in this side lane and farm up, and your team's keeping even. You got Nocturne engage on the Ahri now.
Yeah. The students are just getting caught out on the side lanes here.
They get a little greedy with stepping this far forward to catch waves when you don't have
Yeah.
the ult to get away. Although now we've got Nautilus stepping up a little hard. And Gwen is here. That's going to be a good damage on the front line.
Oh yeah.
Students taking a really good fight for the Pisces now.
Oh yeah. Xayah able to just shred through most of the tanks here, especially with Navori being up now on that Xayah. It's given her a lot of like ability reset potential. Looks like Gwen's gonna keep fighting here too, because I believe Poppy ult is still down. So yeah, not able to get away. Gwen looking to try and
This will be a tricky Hadakon to take. They don't have a very large health pools. Nocturne's gonna
And
go.
the Nocturne's
Who's
still
Nocturne
there.
him. But Gwen with more health, and she probably knows what to do with here. Be able to just kind of walk him off.
It's a good idea to have Gwen come out here and space the Nocturne so you can't
Yeah.
harass them so they can secure that.
And that's going to be a lot of XP actually going over to the side of the students here. So I believe that form of Otacon gives you like, I think it's a 25% bonus on
I'll follow up.
on all flowers, yeah, and the flowers give XP and adaptive force, so
Yeah.
that'll definitely help boost the damage and the levels here for the side of the students.
Indeed. After those few fights there, it looks like Zaya's come out ahead in gold.
Mhm.
He's still sitting on that Caulfield's Warhammer. He did finish the Flicker Blade, so this could be towards the
Yeah.
second item, but curiously building Last Whisper probably into Mortal Reminder. Here they come collapsing on Glen.
That Cho'Gath Q not hitting is actually pretty good for the Gwen there. With a re-gank from, or the, not the re-gank, the counter gank here.
If the Cho'Gath Q lands, they might be able to chunk her down
Yeah.
with the Cho'Gath ult before the students can reply, but not the case there.
Now, did the Poppy pick up a, no, they didn't pick up a shield. For some reason I thought I saw a magic, oh no, I did
it's
the
the
magic
chains.
shield. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's the tier 3 boots here. Looks like Nocturne is just gonna get run down here.
I mean,
die,
that just
and
gives
that's
them
gonna
a
be-
3 Baron.
Yeah. 26-minute Baron, pretty fast Baron, if I do say.
Yeah, the alumni are running into the issue with their comp where, 3 members collapsing on the Glen. Good sidestep from Poppy, but we're gonna have all the CC to follow. Cho'Gath's here to help. It's a good W from Poppy to ground the buy.
Yeah.
Oh, the flash
big
Q.
hook. Ult to try and get away here, but not able
ult.
to.
It's a good play, catching the Kaisa, or the Zaya.
Yeah.
One thing you mentioned earlier is that this Gwen can just side lane all game. As you can see, she's already at the inhibitor tower, up 2 levels on the Poppy that was, to be fair, kind of bullying her early on in the game.
Yeah. You can see the Gwen has more than caught up, has far surpassed the Poppy in gold now.
Is there an overall gold graph we can look at?
Another graph with the gold difference at the top. We can see students are up by 4K, trying to make a play on buy.
Yeah. Which means in theory they should win most of the fights, and it looks like they will win this one if they can. Yeah, there's the Kaisa grab. They're looking to chase down the Nocturne here as well. And it looks like Nautilus is just gonna get snipped to bits. We've got a little bit of, I don't want to say supportal combat, but
So you're just gonna space Poppy out, make sure she can't get a reset in early enough. Not that it will matter. Poppy's not stopping this push.
yeah.
It's like they're looking
I'm
to.
honestly curious
I do
to see
think
if
they're
they'll just
looking to
end
end here, yeah, or else they'd be going
Yeah.
for a dragon. I do think you should be able to with the Glen damage. And the charm.
Oh, the
went through.
charm.
Big charm pulling Poppy out of her ult. It's really
He's doing a decent job of stalling here. His teammates are going to be up. You got to make a play here. The
I
students just focused on the Nexus.
yeah. Oh, the Cho'Gath able to pick up a kill, but
Yeah, once that Gwen scaled and
Yeah.
got a couple items, it was.
yeah. But now we can't see Gwen anymore, so.
And Nocturne, which I'm happy I don't have to see anymore.
What, you don't like the darkness?
I do not.
Alrighty. So students are gonna take first game there. We'll see if they are switching sides, I believe.
It's the loser. It's the losing team that gets to choose side, right?
Correct. Oh, interesting. Okay. So the alumni are taking blue. Yeah. Oh, ready the next game. Oh, that is not how I expected that to work.
Ah. So you can see on the draft panel champs that have already been played. Just right underneath where the bands are. Interesting.
Okay.
Is there any subs for this game? Do we know?
Um,
I believe we have Remy on
Remy.
as a sub, right? Raging Remy.
yes, I'm not sure what or if there are plans for. I'll have to get this draft set up for any sort of subbing going on. I don't see Remy's in spectator.
Spectator currently, yeah.
I might have to. Let me see here.
Looks like they started draft currently. Either that or it's just ticking down. Oh no. They're looking to lock in a Blitzcrank ban here.
I accidentally started the
Yeah.
draft.
Alright, production, roll it back. We gotta
Yep.
rewind. Restart the lobby. That's always so funny when you're watching like LTA in that, formerly the LCS, and they just like don't lock in because they forgot that they had a timer.
Yeah, I wasn't. We did a little testing on the draft tool.
Yeah.
There we go. I will have to manually reset this draft. So you guys want to go ahead and talk about that first game while I get this set up?
Yeah, I definitely think that there were some moments where the Alumni looked like they could have pulled that one off, right? Like some of those engages bot side catching out. I believe it was just the mid laner there for the students for the most part. But I think it was the students' ability to just answer back with a couple of picks of their own on like the re-engage, or well, not a re-engage, but the when it became, I guess you could call it their turn, right? They would
I
show up
think
after the fight had happened.
I think the biggest part was just the Gwen scaling. The I think that just turned the whole game for him.
Yeah, I definitely think the Gwen was a big problem for the side of the Alumni here. It just it was it was just too much damage for them. I feel like even though they were all tanks, it just the true damage coming out from the middle of that snip. I think there was a mid lane fight where I think about 3 people got caught by that and it just chunked their health bars.
Okay, here we go. Oh, gotta switch sides. Okay. This is. We're now on the blue side. Okay, so this. Sending in the draft link.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here to see what happens with both teams trying to figure out this next draft. I'm honestly wondering if we're just gonna see some champions that just get little banned throughout the series.
Okay, this is our first time using this tool. Looks like the timers have not started. Okay, so that's the timer from the previous draft. Okay. So once they ready up, we should see this refresh for us.
Because it's still got the champions from the last game. At least from what I'm seeing, the spectator link.
Yeah, I had to run a new draft back with the same picks. That's why all these bands are showing us. It's negative, so looks like the students have readied up. We're just waiting on the alumni now.
Are we assuming we're gonna see the same bans just because they don't stay banned?
I do expect we'll see a Jin ban at the least.
At least.
Yeah. I feel like you could also probably target or like pick specific roles harder now because you've already eliminated 2 junglers and well 2 of every role, right? Like I feel like you could definitely look to ban some of the more I guess niche picks from either side and force them onto something that they maybe not have practiced.
Say try to probably ban, if you're the alumni, you might want to ban some more junglers and just force, who's it, Backlit? And what's his name?
Yeah.
Anders? Yeah. Again, like he has the most knowledge, as you said, so kind of pushing on something a little less comfortable might be the best, but even then, that might not.
Yeah, in all the drafts we've done with Anders, I can see the alumni going for something like that, but Anders' draft pool basically is every champion in the game. So
What would be really funny is if we saw like a Nefiri bot lane come out here.
I do think Nefiri will be a priority pick for game 2 because Anders can play that jungle and Nick can play that bot as well, or middle.
Yeah.
They can flex Nick middle on it as well. Alumni are just waiting on one player to get back.
Yeah, personally, I have played quite a bit of Nefiri bot lane. It's a pretty strong pick, especially if you kind of know your spacing.
Mm-hmm. And the thought process behind it is pretty straightforward. It's you're matching Nefiri up into ADCs, which is who Nefiri wants to fight. So you just stick them in a lane against the ADC, and ideally you don't need a support with a lot of damage or peel for the Nefiri. You just want something with engage or some CC lockdown.
Yeah,
and that's usually
how
they want to go.
You could also potentially go like an enchanter like Lulu or something like that to empower those auto attacks on that Nefiri.
Yeah, and the Lulu's got the slow for the easy follow up with Nefiri as well. So we have started
now a counter to Nefiri, should it be locked early or something like that, would be a Lulu pick because then you can just polymorph it.
Yep. Nefiri is also kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. Is also a counter pick into Mundo. So if we see a Mundo pick early, it's just a pick that could be on the table because the dogs do block the Mundo Qs, which is a big part of his kill pressure.
Cleaver. Yeah. Now the real question is at the end of this, will we ever see any Mundo dodgeball?
After the Fearless match?
Oh yeah, like after it's all over. Is there gonna be any dodgeball?
Honestly, some Mundo dodgeball to do side selection at the start probably could have been a good idea.
Yeah. Would have been a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like pretty much the same bands from both sides. Blocking out that Sejuani and Blitzcrank for the students and Quay and Galio here for the Alumni.
Yeah, and it's not entirely unexpected if you think about it, because
Yeah.
in game one you're going to ban champs you don't want to play against or champs you know they want to look at playing.
The students banning Jin here. That's
yes,
interesting.
Very
That is-
interesting.
I'm
is-
shocked to say the least.
That is a little surprising here.
Could be a bit of a Nick trying to flex a bit, saying, "Hey coaches, you know I'm playing Jin all the time. Look, we're banning
Yeah.
Jin now." So
I mean, the Alumni do get the first pick, so maybe he just wanted to make sure that if
They
like
didn't
they
pick it
get,
off of him, yeah.
yeah,
it's a good.
Emilio
thought,
can
yeah.
be really annoying paired up with the right ADC because his W gives extra range
Mm-hmm.
and also healing. So he gives them some pretty good sustain here in the bot lane. Oh, here's the Nefiri pick.
a McDowg.
The dogs are out. Now the real question is will we see Glizzy Nefiri? That is a real
If
question.
it's Nick, then absolutely, I would expect that.
Ooh, Xerath. That could be flexed mid potentially. Oh, they're gonna go for the Ornn though.
I think his Zerif would be support, as we see with Jin Zerif is usually
Yeah.
what they play him
Yeah,
by. So
yeah. But the
Could be.
Xerath can also be flexed mid as well, and just be an artillery mage that can probably walk like halfway into the enemy jungle or halfway into your jungle, and then if you're getting pressured under tower, can just ult and try and blast away at the enemy team.
There's Emilio
All right,
Lucian.
Milio Lucian for the bot lane.
It's a bot lane with
of
a
the Alumni
lot
team.
of kill pressure.
Yeah,
I don't care if you're. It's actually I really like this pick into the potential Nefiri bot. Unfortunately, like I said, the Nefiri can be flex jungle, so they're not
Yeah.
necessarily locked into that. But I do think the Emilio Lucian is a
Ooh,
decent
the Shen
answer.
too. This is a lot of protect the president. It's looking like from the Alumni here.
Honestly,
All
kind
that
of
shit.
expecting a bit of a rise angle from Nielsen middle with this comp that they've got going. As you're saying, protect the president. I'm kind of expecting a carry in the mid lane.
Oh,
as
there's the
well.
Seraphine pick potentially.
let's go, baby. Let's go, students. Let's stomp them.
There's the Seraphine
to see it.
lock-in.
Yep. So that's
Love to
probably gonna
see
be
it.
Seraphine support, if anything. I mean, you could potentially play it mid, but I don't know how
There's a
good
lot
it
of
is
flex
to-
there because Nick will play that
Yeah.
bot lane as well. So that's a
Yeah, yeah,
that's a three
Victor
three
ban.
rolls three
Okay.
roll flex.
yeah.
The Alumni definitely are going to have to get some damage in their comp. Lucian, if Lucian can get ahead early, you know he does provide a lot of damage, but this comp from the students, it's not something I would be particularly confident playing Lucian into.
Yeah. And there's the Xerath ban. It might even be from the hover that happened earlier.
That's possible.
No, I'd definitely be looking at the side of the students if I was in this match, and I'd be like, what is their comp? What is happening? Especially if it's just like you're going against the team and you don't really know much.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure both teams have looked each other up enough to, or have played with each other in the past enough to recognize kind of what's happening here.
And Dustin's got some pretty good insight into what the Uni students wanna play and kind of what their champ pools are looking at.
Yeah. Soraka ban here, trying to kill off the support role, even though it looks like support's already locked in, but again, like you said, Seraphine can be flexed to an APC here. A Thresh coming out. Okay, so it looks like it might just be Nefiri jungle.
Yeah. I don't expect Trung to take the Seraphine middle.
Pike. No Pike.
Nah, I trust in the
Interesting.
Seraphine jungle.
The Seraphine jungle. It's
I
crazy.
Locked
trust.
in for Gen C.
Yep. Interesting Bard pick. You don't generally see Bard all that often, really. I think it's partly because if you're playing Bard support, your ADC has to be able to safely farm
Yeah, and
and like
A
not get
Seraphine
caught
can
out.
definitely do
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
And I think the Bard will scale really well into Shen and Melio
Yeah.
because the Shen ult comes out. You just Bard ult on top. You can catch either one and then isolate the Shen, or you can catch them both if you time it right.
Yeah.
You can catch the Melio out. Obviously, the Melio ultimate there to can counteract the Seraphine big charm or root or something. But
Yeah.
Melio can't ult out of the stasis, out of the Bard stasis.
Well, he can't ult himself out, but can he ult others out?
No, if the Melio
Okay.
is CC'd, he can't. Yeah, he can't use the
Well,
ult.
well, yeah, but I'm saying like if say Milio's like outside of the Bard ulti, can he ult somebody that is stasis and get
No,
them out?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Oh, a Mel pick here is actually kind of huge, especially with the Lucian, because Mel can just frontline into a Lucian ult and basically reflect all of it with her W.
Yeah, and I do like Mel's just kind of a strong pick, anyways. But it looks like Trung's locking in a Nivea
And Nivea here.
for
Interesting.
mid lane.
The side of the students is looking relatively squishy, except for that Ornn.
Yeah, that does look like Neferi jungle then. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Kane and Shen picks. Um, it's possible. We'll see if they switch in the lobby. It's possible that Dustin and Josh could have swapped mid and top, and Dustin in, as Kane in the jungle. But no, but looks like they're sitting with their same lineup, so that'll be Dustin on Shen top.
Yeah. I mean, you could also think, like, had they not locked in the Milio first pick, I think the Shen could have also been seen as a flex there, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I've definitely seen that work, and I've played it a bit myself. Just playing.
The Kane is a really interesting pick.
Yeah.
Because I would think you would be looking at a blue Kane angle.
Yeah, definitely, with, like, the Bard, the Anivia, and the Seraphine there.
Yeah, so they've got some decent damage, with the Rise in the middle. I've seen Nielsen's Rise, and he's pretty comfortable on it as far as like a mage carry middle.
Yeah, and I think Rise is also probably, like, the scaling member that the Alumni were missing last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because while Kaisa did scale, they really couldn't keep up with the Gwen.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think.
they had the Nautilus for some CC, but all the gold unfortunately went to the Nocturne, which loses value as the game goes on. They would have been in a much better position if more of that gold was on, say, Kaisa or even Cho'Gath. But the Gwen, like you were saying, just kind of rips through that front line once she gets going.
It'll be interesting here, though, because the side of the students actually doesn't, like, it also has some pretty decent scaling here, too. Because Bard and Ornn both can play for the late game.
Yeah, and
Bard more so than Ornn can.
And Anivia will usually build a scaling, like Rod of Ages type.
Yeah.
Probably, I would also... Well, so it'd probably be Rod of Ages into Malignance. I'm not sure what third item Trung would go on the Anivia here. I could see Leandri's for the Shen Rise, because Rise will be able to take a hit as well. but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Because if Anivia doesn't go a third item, something with health, then Anivia is going to be really squishy for that Cane, assuming the Cane gets a little bit of gold.
Yeah. I think that in the mid lane it'll be a race to Rod of Ages,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just to see who can get it done first and who can get it scaling faster.
Yeah. Both teams scale pretty well here. Lucian doesn't fall off nearly as hard as he used to, so he's not as good, I think, as a lot of other ADCs just because of his short range. But I do think the Lucian should be able to contend with Nefiri a bit. Depending on the skill matchup. I mean, that is, Anders versus Parker there, which is a bit of a rank difference, but,
It will also be interesting to see what kind of ganks come out too, because Nefiri being kind of hypermobile can probably open up for a lot of rotations to happen for the side of the students, especially because Lucian will probably have push into the Seraphine, if I'm not mistaken.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
standard 5
30
point.
seconds until minions spawn.
Yep. Kind of standard 5-point from both teams here, except the Shen's just kind of doing whatever over there. He might be looking for an early fight here, although the Nefiri here walking in.
And Anders
Looking
looking
to
to
take.
get some info.
Yeah.
Sadly, no Glizzy McDowg.
Yes, unfortunately, Nick not on the
Minions have
Nefiri.
spawned.
So Nefiri's probably gonna look like starting red side here, which makes sense, being a melee champion.
Mm-hmm.
But blue buff can also be pretty helpful because Nefiri is also a mana champ.
Yeah, and I would expect Anders to play towards mid and top side a bit more here, with Gency roaming a lot around the level 4 area. Because Seraphine Bard is not a duo that can stop a Lucian that wants to do what he wants to do. Those skill shots can be pretty hard to hit against the dashing champ.
Yeah, I think especially it's going to be hard for them to stop it, especially when Milio hits level 2 or level 3 and takes that W and gives Lucian just some extra auto range too.
Yeah, there's the Lucian damage coming out.
Yep. Yeah, press the attack as well is super easy for Lucian to proc here because when he presses an ability, he gets an extra auto off of it. So
Yeah. Well,
he just once presses like, I don't know, W and then gets 2 autos and then press the attack is applied.
And I'm looking at the Bard rune there with the electrocute. So it looks like he wants to trade a little bit back when that Lucian. He wants to play this lane a little bit aggressively and keep the Lucian chunked as well, so he doesn't have free rank. Because normally with a Bard you'd go Airy for the extra shield power, plus obviously helps with the poke. So electrocute's kind of an aggressive, really aggressive rune for Bard. I even see Hail of Blades over something like electrocute usually.
Yeah, that's generally with like on hit Bard.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you see the Halo Blades, but And then there's the oddball, I believe it's Summoner Spellbook, or is that? I think that's the rune.
Yeah. Fury taking a...
Big trade here from the Ornn onto the Shen.
And they know, or they suspect at least, that Neferi's taking that boss scuttle, so Josh is pathing top. Nielsen's in a pretty precarious situation without mana, but
Yeah.
Trunk positioning forward there kind of clued Nielsen in that something might be up, and they know their jungle timers. Kane just finished his full clear, so they know Neferi's looking for something on a reset as
Yeah,
well.
with that ward and that top pixel brush there, Ornn knows not really to walk up on that wave.
I don't expect a whole lot of fighting.
But it looks like they might get the fight going here topside. And mid.
Just be able to walk away pretty easily with that. Right? As long as he doesn't... I'm not sure if you can root the Neferi wolves or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
There's the Gensi roam early. But I don't
Might even hit the Q here? Not quite.
For the stun.
Big stun there.
Gonna-
The wall too.
holding his
Oh.
flash. That is...
And there's first blood.
And he's not going to
He's
get...
got the res, so
He's outside of tower range, although having his passive down is not ideal. But looks like, oh, big root.
They could look for that again if Da Vinci could force the... If you could force the flash out of Seraphine, I think trading flash for flash here, Lucian and Seraphine, would have been really worth it for the Alumni. But
Yeah.
with that root connecting from Seraphine, you're gonna commit too
Didn't want
much
to keep
of it.
going. Yeah.
Students taking an early commanding lead.
Yeah. The orange is waiting for that timer on the Shen W as well. Just doesn't have to care.
The timing for the CC on the Ornn against the Shen is sort of interesting because the thought is you can dodge the brittle proc that Ornn wants to do to chunk you out, but if he does get the QE knockup on you, I think if you don't have tenacity, you might be able to get your as Ornn get your W auto off before the Shen comes out of stun. But
Yeah.
I know the window is really tight there.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
man,
gonna go
Into
for a
those.
gank here, and
immediately.
he's just
just
dead.
blowing
Yeah.
up.
The Fury's
With
also a
some
pretty
really-
safe dive champ as well,
Yeah.
because you can press W and go untargetable.
They know Anivia's flash is down, so this should be an easy pickup for Alumni.
Yep. Also with the passive gone too. Bard flash there to try and
Try to get.
get there quicker, but unable to do anything with it.
Fortunately for Gen Z, they did not see the Bard flash. They do not know the timer's down. But yeah, he tried to
Yeah.
flash heal his heals on. Same cooldown.
Yeah.
Just out of range there. I don't think it would have saved the Anivia, but if Josh had, if that did save the Anivia from that last auto from Kane, and Josh backed off, the Anivia might have been able to walk away. Just a game of inches, unfortunately, for the Bard.
Yep. Like Seraphine here able to just kind of hold her own. To help with some of those Bard Ws, I don't know what they're called, but
Yeah, shrines, yeah.
yeah.
Seraphine's pretty happy to just let
Yeah.
a wave crash
Oh,
and
yeah.
clear it.
Hextech Alternator, that's some pretty decent damage too.
Yeah.
So you're able to clear the wave pretty easily.
Assume that's going in for Ludens. My best bet.
I don't know if that's going in for a Ludens,
Oh, they're gonna walk right into this Nefiri.
but it might. Yeah. They don't know he's
Oh,
there.
that's
Oh, here it
Kane's
comes.
ult is down. And he missed the W.
Oh, and there's the ult reset.
And then
Oh,
the
wait, the
stun as he
stun.
Ult
went through.
again.
Huge.
Dang. Lots of value on that Neferi ult.
The Trung Anders connection here really showing off their chemistry.
Yeah.
because you can tell they're communicating that, Anivia doesn't have, Trunks says, I don't have my egg up, I don't have my flash, so if I just step up and clear these waves and push into the turret, the Kayn and Ryze want to look at me, so Anders just make sure he's always watching for that angle, and it's pain.
And I don't know if, I think Anders had just come from taking Gromp as well.
Yeah.
On the side, on the blue side of the rift there.
That is a massive gold lead for the middle jungler, for students.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Some big chunk damage there.
still gets it.
Yeah. I believe that was the fully stacked Q.
Yeah, the double Q.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is if yeah, if we look at it here.
Did miss the E though on it. I saw when they're slowed for the root, but
Okay,
The
so
bar to let
there's,
you do damage.
yeah, it is. It's the double Q. Just kind of walks into it. Thought he avoided the first one and didn't quite.
one fun thing to do with Seraphine is when you're at 2 out of 3 for your Echo, and then you have a support that can do some slow. They slow, and then you root, and then you get the double Q.
The ult coming out there from Seraphine.
Ooh.
Oh,
Genzi positioned really greedily, or not greedily
Yeah.
enough in that encounter. They just kind of thought they had it secure,
Yeah.
and then the barrier came out and flash follow up. Really well played by Parker.
Yeah. Yeah. But that is also the flash of the Lucian down.
Yes.
So now, while he is still a mobile champion, like by no means is he stuck anywhere. He's a lot easier to lock down now too because he has no flash.
I believe that's Milio flash out as well as the heal.
I don't think that was heal. I think that was, or no, it was
Flash
heal, yeah.
and heal, yeah, both of them.
Flash and
Flash,
heal. It looks like
heal,
his
and
ult as well
Yeah.
is also on cooldown there. Yeah, the side of the students is just looking a little more organized here,
Yeah,
which doesn't surprise me at all because this roster, I believe last semester went undefeated
Mm-hmm.
in their division.
Yeah.
So they're all pretty comfortable playing with each other.
Yeah. And that game 1 win, a nice confidence boost as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think they ever have too much kill pressure on the Ornn here, especially with Kayn not having one of his forms yet, but a couple form stacks there, unfortunately the red stacks.
Yeah. And the students with full void grubs, so they're gonna be able to take towers pretty easily here because those void grubs give extra damage to towers, I believe, and they also spawn little might that just help you stay under tower all
Yeah,
all the more.
Lucian getting the kill on Seraphine. This is one of the mistakes that Nick does tend to make is he steps forward when there's not really any need to. His wave is pushing into him, his bot is roaming top making plays, and the enemy support is here with the Lucian. And you're stepping up, not burning your flash or your ult to get away, so now this whole wave's gonna crash and you'll be able to collect tank with the cannon. Fury is looking down here though. We've got Dragon.
My
The gold
kid
lead
Emilio.
for the gold lead for both sides here. Pretty even. 2K isn't a number to just scoff at, but it's a lot closer than.
It feels a lot. The numbers are a lot closer than it feels like, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's also something that players have to deal with as well. Is like you might have the gold lead, but it might not feel like it. I mean, the winning team or the winning side here, side of the students on red side, definitely do have the gold lead, and they can probably feel it too. But
Anders with the early Spear of Shojin.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna allow for a lot of damage on the Fury.
Looks like so the Ornn opted for the Heartsteel start, and Shen went for the Hollow Radiance for the wave clear. So if Shen, I don't think Dustin will go for a Heartsteel second, which is kind of unfortunate because Heartsteel on Shen is not something to turn away from.
No.
There's a lot of damage.
It allows for a lot of damage to come out of that champion.
Yeah.
On
And
that.
as we saw from last game, the Alumni team did struggle with damage in that first game. And
Now,
Shen-
will this Emilio die here from that ignite? I don't know.
He is on vision, so Trung is kind of playing both angles
Yeah.
here.
He might have to burn his flash here to get out, but he already
Gonna get this
has. That's just gonna go egg. Yeah.
Kill does go to Shen, unfortunately.
Yo.
It's a Shen TPing top to catch the wave. Alumni need to be careful here, stepping up. You don't have the Emilio ult as a backup.
No,
in
they had
case-
to. Emilio had to burn that to live against the Anivia there.
Yeah. I'll say if the Lucian gets caught by a Seraphine ult, he's pretty toast into this Electrocute Bard.
Oh yeah.
Also, and it's also the Blood Song Bard, so this Bard's gonna do a surprising amount of damage that can catch you off guard.
He's gonna auto attack. Oh, the big root there. The ult not able to connect. Looked like it might have been able to catch the Emilio had he walked up just a smidge further.
I do think for the Alumni down here in the spot lane, I do think it is worth it to trade kills for Lucian. I don't think you care too much if Bard or Seraphine have gold, but you need the gold on Lucian.
Yeah.
So I do find it kind of interesting that he doesn't flash forward and try to make no play here.
Oh, here's a big play.
Okay.
Able to pick one up. Pick up a second maybe. Both go through.
There's no Shen ult for follow-up. Kane's coming in for the assist.
Yeah.
Unneeded. Lucian takes it.
That
Kind of a
double
nice-
kill going over to
Ideal
that
scenario
double
for
kill going over
Lucian.
to Lucian is just not a good thing for the side of the students here.
And the Fury hasn't been a part of a whole lot in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Alumni have kind of closed the gap here. It used to be a 2k gold lead. This first turret now bumps him back up to 1k gold.
Just over a 1k gold here. I feel like the Nefiri was really good early, but hasn't been able to do much with the lead that they found themselves.
Yeah, the couple of kills early that Nefiri was able to help secure were pretty opportunistic. A fight's breaking out middle, and Andrews is there on after finishing his clear, so he's kind of optimizing his time there by getting all of the CS and then helping with the kill. He just hasn't had fortunate timing.
Big play from the Ornn there. He's gonna be able to pick it up with the flash trade.
Kane here for some cleanup possibly. He's got tier 2 boots.
Doesn't
He's
have
gonna
form yet though.
He's gonna stall here for the Nefiri and Bard to come up though. Unfortunately,
Might be able to catch him on
Josh
the wall, potentially. Oh, there's the
if he can-
that might kill. Never mind. Oh, it does actually. I think he dies for it though.
Yeah,
Potentially. Yeah, especially with Nefiri W like that.
I do think Josh should have tried to cue the wave to snag the gold. I'm in trouble here. And this dive coming in.
Oh,
getting
big
the turret.
damage though coming out from Nick there.
Trump stepping up, and the CC.
Oh,
Shen.
SCC.
And the Shen doesn't have flash from earlier, so he can't. He's never gonna go there.
Now that's just a wasted Shen ulti. The damage unable to quite pick up that kill onto that Lucian.
Parker got a little greedy there, clearing the wave, but we've gotten the Fury closing in here.
Yeah.
I do.
Now does Nefiri have ult? She
I-
does.
They don't feel the Nefiri coming down.
No,
So
they
Emilio
don't.
needs to move.
Yeah. That's a second ult there. I think
Yep.
that's just a second kill.
There's the dogs blocking the Emilio Q.
W bait from the Seraphine.
I think
I
not
gotta
su-
say something.
I'm not sure who's catching who out
I'm,
here.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's happening in this fight, but
Students may
hard
have
having to flash
overstepped.
there. Might have to eat. Might try and eat over the wall here. Doesn't look like he has it up though.
Students
Are they gonna
overstepped.
stall enough for the dragon though? No, probably
I
not.
don't think so.
Nope.
I think they have to give it,
Yeah, I don't think the students can fight this.
or maybe they do.
They're gonna try.
I don't know. Yeah, they're gonna try
Ornal?
to. This Warren ult might. Oh, he almost got. He almost
Oh,
got it out.
Seraphine's back, but just to save McDowell.
They should know the Seraphine ult timer
Oh, that's Nefiri dead. And that's the Seraphine dead actually.
though. That's all three down.
That's also.
Oh,
Big
did he
shutdown goal to the
flash?
Shen.
And dog flash too.
Alumni showing
Shen.
that they have played this game before as well.
Yeah, Shen also sitting on a bunch of gold now.
1.7k.
Yeah.
See what he starts to pick up here. Pick himself an Aegis, Giant's Belt. Second dragon for Alumni. Alumni actually looking pretty good here in game 2.
Yeah, different from last game, from the 3 dragons in
Yeah.
what was it, 17 minutes
Yeah.
from the students.
Yeah.
You better be careful, this Lucian does
You're
damage.
getting caught out here. Oh, but the stun coming out. There's Millie ult down.
Yeah, and they've got Shen ult here in a few seconds, if you can survive.
And even if you were to,
Seraphine ult is
even if you were
up,
to
though.
commit onto that Anivia there, they still have passive to do so.
Oh. Parker
Shen.
with the Lucian
Ooh.
moves. Shen ult coming
Lucian
in. No?
somehow able to turn that fight around.
That was incredible movements from Parker on the
Yeah.
Lucian.
If you
I
look at
think-
his look at Lucian's items, does he have?
Yeah, he's got
which-
Essence Reaver Collector.
Yeah, he's got Essence Reaver. Yeah. That Collector definitely doing work there and just making sure that everybody's dead. And here comes the Nefiri again. Now, Emilio, I think most of his
Channel.
healing is down, but all these shields, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Serpent's Fang later from the side of the students.
The incredible
to,
amount
like-
of shields coming through.
Yeah, just to prevent all those shields from coming down.
Yeah,
Looks like the Seraphine's just gonna get collapsed on here.
Yeah, I think Anna should be picking up Serpent's Fang third item here. It's not a very popular item, but after that exchange there, I think they can see the value of cutting out 800 shield for that whole interaction.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that also prevents any shields that Shen might put on with his ult.
Yes.
Because I believe those were
Emilio's-
just Milio shields.
Yeah, well,
Like-
there was the Shen shield at the end there, but he survived long enough because of the Emilio shields for sure.
Yeah.
And they don't, the Alumni students don't have a Grievous Wound picked up yet, which is incredibly surprising considering the Red King and Emilio picks.
Yeah. Looking to contest here, unable to get the steal off, but they probably pick up at least one pick here.
Bit of a split focus from the Alumni.
Oh, even saving himself just barely. Healing back up to half from nearly 0.
Really well played fight by the students. Very coordinated. You can see how difficult some of these champions are for the students to kill. It does take them quite a bit to get them down.
Oh yeah.
Some split focus from the Alumni at the start of that fight kind of killed their momentum. They started to turn on Seraphine. Go back to this. When Seraphine shows up, they start to turn on her, but then kind of abandon it. In favor of all these champions here. But
Shen's really the only one that sticks with that.
is E down.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the middle of that engage there, there wasn't a call to back off because the pain got shredded by the Fury.
You can see from the timeline down here a lot of back and forth. The students had
Oh, yeah.
a lot more momentum early on, and then the Alumni caught a lot in those fights middle. Lucian and Rise got a lot of gold there, and then the students just came back and took them to school a little bit. 4-0 interaction there.
It looks like the students did pick up boots here. They did get those, that feat done.
Yeah.
And actually, Ornn already getting items upgraded for people as well. Looks like the Nefiri has an upgraded Black Cleaver.
And the Fury's getting some grievous wounds.
Yep. It honestly wouldn't be surprising to see him, Morello's come out for the Seraphine as well.
A rare,
Or just
rare situation where the score line actually reflects the gold difference here. 14-14, even gold.
Yeah.
Bard's caught
Bard
out.
just getting. Oh, big
Oh,
stun.
huge stun.
Just kind of putting a little bit of damage down with that Nivea ult. That blizzard there.
Alumni definitely learning how dangerous it is to fight in corridors against this Anivia.
Yeah.
I would say even Bard too with the Qs.
Oh yeah, like the side of the students here does really well into group comp. I feel like because you have the Seraphine ult that when it hits an ally or hits an enemy, it extends the range on it.
Oh,
And then you
Shen
have
stopped
Bard
the Ornn
ulti.
ult. Or the Ornn
Yeah.
TP.
Well, there's the Seraphine ult we're talking about.
Big shield
Oh,
from the...
Shields from Shen, just able to keep that Lucian alive on 1 HP.
Just this extended fight still going.
Yeah, they just. I
Alumni
feel like the
kinda
students
pushed-
don't have enough sustain here to really take these extended fights. Well, I say that Nefiri heals back up to half health.
Yeah, unfortunately the Lucian got clipped by the Seraphine Q and then they went and then they 4-0'd him. It looked really good for the Alumni for a while there. They kind of overstepped and played the students played it really patiently, which was really well coordinated by them.
They played it really slow and just waited for those important abilities to go on cooldown.
I do want to just take a look at the Ornn TP started to come out at the start of that fight. And the Shen got here just in time to stop it. And then later the Shen ult came in and was stopped by the Ornn. So it was a true 4v4 despite the double globals from both teams.
Yeah.
Looks like the students transferred this into a dragon and a baron.
Big fight mid. Double stun. Able to chunk out the cane there. Actually, that's the Milio getting chunked pretty heavily here, and I think if they get the pick on the Milio, it opens up the fight quite a bit more because then the side of the alum loses a lot of the sustain that has been keeping them in these fights.
Yeah, the student team comp is a much stronger front to back, and we're in that point of the game where we've got a lot more of those 4v4s and 5v5s happening, whereas the alumni team wants to have more of those 2v2s and 3v3s.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the alumni can get their side lanes pushed, this Baron's going to be probably their hardest struggle to weather this game yet. But it's actually, depending on how the students play this, they could be playing into a favorable situation for the alumni. If they go a traditional 1-3-1 with Baron, then the alumni want to take those smaller fights.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the side of the alum, especially from their performances last game, like to try and catch people out more so than they like taking the team fight overall.
Bard coming in fast with the dog to follow up with it.
Seraphine ult, I think, whiffs.
I think it
But it
got
doesn't
the
really matter.
video. Yeah.
I don't think it really matters though
Not
because
really.
the Fury was on top of him, and there goes the Shen. Right after Lucian went down, Fury's or not the was it the Fury? I don't know. Yeah, it would have been the Fury, and then Seraphine picking up a kill in the midst of it, and it looks like they're just here because Baron buffed super wave crashing.
Baron buff plus up 3 on him.
Yeah.
So
I just the game.
Although they
Milio
do
came
have
back.
members respawning here.
Lucian
but
back in
that
4.
Nexus, yeah, that Nexus is open, and there goes the Ornal locking down Kane there. Milio also
Go on.
getting targeted here. The backline just able to shred that Nexus.
And alumni. Or 2 students, rather.
Game started real close, and then once the students started getting a lead, they just stuck with it and snowballed to win it all.
Yeah, I definitely think the Nefiri picking up a couple crucial kills there allowed them to really just kind of go. And also, the positioning from the student side was also, I feel, better than some of the positioning of the alumni, because the alumni would trap themselves in corridors with a team that wants you in a corridor. So we'll just have to see what kind of comps we get here in game 3.
Okay, this should be a bit smoother here. Got.
Now, are the alumni switching sides again?
They're
just-
not. I think they're staying
Okay.
blue side.
Staying blue side, alright. Yeah, I wonder if a Jin is going to make it through draft here. Or if even like a Callista or something like that will show up.
Yeah, we're getting into pocket pick territory here.
Oh yeah. We might even be able to see some off meta picks here too on just rolls.
Yeah, something I think we didn't focus enough on as the draft was coming through was the front to back team fighting from the Seraphina Nivea Orn picks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that we definitely overlooked that, because that's just so much lockdown and damage for that matter just in those 2 champions. Because it allows for like a lockdown of like the Shen and the Kane trying to go onto the back line, or like go into the Ornn and Bard, and it allows for Nefiri just to kind of like say, "Oh, you're here, I'm over there," and go in on like the Lucian and the Milio and the Rise.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the lobby right now, and unless they're just a bit disorganized after a second game loss. Oh, okay, now the alumni are moving back around into the positions they were in before. I thought perhaps we were going to see some lane swaps going on, but I would kind of expect partially for Nielsen and Dustin to swap mid and top, but we'll kind of see. I do think if the students let the Sejuani ban go through, which I don't think they will, I do think they'll stick with the Blitz Sejuani Jin bans. But if they do, that's definitely an angle that I could see the alumni taking to try to switch things up a little bit and put Dustin on something more of a carry, because Dustin is Dustin's like about a mid diamond player, high mid diamond.
Yeah.
So he's, as far as League of Legends rank goes, he's, as far as I'm aware, the easily the highest rank of the alumni, and so not having him on a carry like mid or ADC carry or something like that, I do think could be
there's
crippling
even
him.
top lane champions that you could put him on that could really just like snowball the game in your favor, like a Cassante or maybe even like a Volibear.
Yeah, I could see them doing maybe a let's see, top champs we got here. Could see Ambessa top. It's a bit more of a carry. Trying to think of just things that I know Dustin does or would play. So, what I say, Mbessa. I could see Fiora, Kale,
Mm,
Jax potentially. I do think if they want to, I do think a carry top could be uh, could be a decent angle here for the alumni to get some momentum back.
yeah, I definitely think now that you mentioned it, like a Kale would be really good
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh for
Yeah,
the
if you,
top lane.
yeah, I think from the alumni side, I would love to see something like Leona support, and then a
Yeah,
tanky frontline jungle, perhaps Skarner or even Warwick or something like that. And then having Dustin on a carry top as extra insurance because they've been doing well early and mostly mid game, and then it's just when that late game hits and you're 5v5ing, you're just kind of losing a bit of that.
yeah.
Losing
It
a bit
looks
of
like the
that.
alumni forgot to ban their first ban. That or they chose to just leave it open.
So the ban didn't go through. It's gonna be a Galio first ban from the alumni.
Yeah.
As we see the Blitz ban as normal,
Yeah, Blitz
along with
Sejuani.
the wait.
I've
Also, the
been
Sejuani ban there too.
yeah. I will say I know these students pretty well. I'm actually fairly surprised that they're sticking with these same bands and not trying to flex a little bit by either leaving bands open or
Ooh, a Smolder ban.
That's
very
100% a
interesting.
target.
That's a target ban for uh, Nick, who uh,
Yeah,
little in our drafts, Nick's always kind of asking, Smolder angle, and we a lot of times don't have the comps prepared that a Smolder needs to really thrive. So that's why we haven't
yeah.
played it a whole lot in regular season. But it's a champion he's always asking about.
Ooh, okay. Alumni looking to kind of confirm their bot lane here. The Stivir. Although you could potentially send that mid or even top,
I I
but those are
yeah, I was
pretty
gonna say that
uncommon.
I could definitely I could see that top as a top flex as well because we know some of those
Ooh, the
range
Xerath
top lane
coming
matchups
out
can be pretty
here.
toxic.
Yeah, the Xerath lock in for the students.
Hmm. I'd expect maybe Caitlyn bot lane to pair with that Xerath.
J4. Interesting. Or the Nidalee?
I
Looks
think
like they're looking for the
Anders
J4
I
here.
think Anders might go Nidalee. But well, I think he wants to go Nidalee, but seeing not having very much information, I don't think he's yeah.
Ooh. Blinds and Zhao. I guess that does take it off the table for
Yeah,
the
that is one of
alumni.
Josh's picks.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know that, but it is one of Josh's jungle picks.
Could you potentially restart your stream on Discord?
Yeah, I'm also not seeing the league.
Is there something wrong with the stream?
On Discord,
On
anyway.
Discord, yeah.
Ah,
It's just,
Not
yeah.
the Twitch. Twitch is fun.
No, Twitch is fine. Looks like we're getting a Stivir Janna potentially bot lane, which is a really fast bot lane, I guess is the best way to put it. Like in terms of movement speed wise. And then we got the Victor as well for the mid lane. I'm guessing anyway. Yeah, that's better. Okay.
oh, I forgot to leave the last game.
Huh.
Okay.
Alright. And then we got the Ezreal pick for the bot here. Although that could potentially be an Ezreal mid as well.
Yeah, Xerath's also technically a flex.
Yeah.
I would expect this to be Xerath Ezreal bot. Mundo
Yeah.
ban coming out. I think that's a pretty good ban.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly
got the
surprised
Zac
that
ban
they're not
too.
looking to pick it, but I don't want to leave it up for pick 4. Yeah, Drew
Yeah, both
on
sides
these.
kind of targeting out the top lane here for the last two picks.
Mhm. I think it's smart from the alumni to continue to target top lane there. I don't think Trung's gonna get banned out too much. I would expect. I'm not sure what I would expect here. I guess we'll just see what they go with. Darius ban.
And there's the Darius as well.
I'm partially expecting a Cassante pick for Dakota top here, blind. But
Yeah.
we could see that could be trouble with the Janna. I don't see Cassante being a whole lot of effective or very effective against the Janna, Sivir, Victor, who are all pretty fast.
Vel'Koz.
Vilka's middle.
Interesting. That opened Xerath up to being mid and having it being an Ezreal Vel'Koz bot lane.
That's true.
Or even the rare Vel'Koz mid.
Heck, at this point, we could see Vel'Koz top, and I wouldn't be too terribly surprised.
That is true. That is true. The side of the students here looking pretty balanced in terms of like AP and AD damage,
Mm-hmm.
but the alumni kind of AD heavy, I would say, because Janna, while she does do AP damage, unless you're reckless,
Yeah, you're not.
I don't think you're really building damage.
Yeah, and against what the students have specifically picked here, I don't think
Volibear.
a diverse damage profile is super necessary.
Yeah.
None of these champions are building much resistance for the Uni students. And then the Volibear last in the jungle.
Yeah.
And Volibear's a very
Or
strong
maybe we
pick
see a
right
Garen
now.
jungle, you know? It's like we might be getting a Warwick as the final pick for the
Warwick
students.
top.
Yeah.
This is something that I don't think we've seen Dakota on it yet, but Warwick top made an appearance. Was it 2 semesters ago? Top lane for us. You typically would run like barrier flash with it, and you just look to fight everything all the time.
Yeah, I believe you also take lethal tempo with that too, right?
Yes, yeah. In
'Cause-
lane.
Yeah. You'll like lethal tempo and then like first item stride breakers so you can just run at people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what the Garen wants to do too, so if you both just wanting to fight, I think Warwick wins that. Although once you get to level 6 it becomes a little bit of an issue because then Garen can just press R and
I actually
eat
think
the last third of your HP bar.
yeah, this top lane matchup, Garen Warwick, is going to be very dependent on how this Warwick builds and his rune choice. I think for him, Sterix first is the only real option you're going to have against this Garen, because Warwick wants to fight in that sub 30% health area where he maximizes the use out of his passive and his Qs and his healing. And that's exactly where Garen wants his enemy to be, is 30% health, so he can just ult them down. So it'll be actually a very intense skill matchup for the limits there of Warwick kind of trying to play on that threshold, not getting too low into that one-shot territory.
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking, if you go Sterax barrier, you give yourself a lot more room there. And but I would expect Dustin to mostly play this Garen side lane and just draw tons of pressure, and just try to 1v1 anybody that shows up and leave anytime more than 2 people show up, and try to create cross-side map pressure for the rest of your team, because once again, the UNI students have picked a team comp that does really pretty well in a front-to-back sort of sense, with the Vel'Koz, Ezreal, Xerath in the back line there.
I think the side of the students here is kind of lacking a tank. Really is what I think is probably missing from that comp.
Yeah, their survivability and their frontline, Warwick and Xin Shao, are really conditionally dependent on, you know, the Xin Shao ulting and
Yeah.
you know, it's blocking the range damage but not the melee damage, and the Warwick you know, kind of like wants to sustain tank through healing. But again, you know, if you've got Garen nuking you at 40% health, it's really hard to sustain tank through that. So we'll see how these fights play out.
Yeah, I definitely think in this draft, like with Ezreal especially, I think a Braum would have been a really strong pick for the support for the students, because I believe Ezreal's Q procs Braum passive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it applies on hits. But
yeah, I think Ashe would have also been good. They have more pick potential here with like Xerath Vel'Koz. I think Ashe would have fit really well into that.
Yeah.
Ezreal's gonna have, well, depending on how Josh builds Volibear. I know Volibear can build, you know, that Flicker Blade, Rod of Ages, like Riftmaker build, which is pretty squishy, because he kind of plays a lot like Warwick in that sense, where you want these really long extended fights. So Ezreal also wants that. So I kind of see Ezreal struggling a bit against the Volibear, depending on, you know, how the gold shapes out.
And even if he doesn't go that like sustain build, if he goes tank, he can just kind of sit on the Ezreal and just lock him down for as long as he needs to.
Yeah.
Until like the Sivir or the Victor or the Garen even can like get to him. And
Ezreal's E provides him a lot of self peel, but a champion like Volibear kind of is just fine just running at you after that and just throwing E's and Q's and running at you. So if he plays around walls really well, he shouldn't have too big of a problem. The Ezreal shouldn't. But we've seen the UNI students play these team fights really coordinated and space the alumni pretty well. So we'll see if they continue to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, with Volibear as well, like he can sustain through a lot of Volibear forgot to buy items.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Or is potentially AFK.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
It's possible because that's Josh. I was gonna say it was possible that Josh's league crashed. It was doing that earlier today, but looks like he's back now.
Yeah. I also think with like Volibear as well, like him being able to press W on you at the start of a fight, and then just if he's tanky, just going again and then pressing W once more.
I do think the alumni champions here excel in the 1v1s and 2v2s a lot more. That's kind of been the pattern here.
Yeah.
So if they kind of recognize that and allow themselves to play a little more patiently and, you know, push their side lanes, force the students to spread out a bit more instead of like taking these 4v4s in larger team fights too early, I think that should be their strategy going into this. And hopefully with the Volibear Garen, that's what they're looking to do.
Oh yeah. Good geometry there from the Vel'Koz, getting that Q hit onto the Victor. I definitely think okay, so it looks like Warwick is going lethal tempo here, but it'll just be an angle is to see what he goes into first.
Yeah, and he's
in
not
terms of items.
Yeah, it's phase rush ignite on the Garen top, so he's wanting to fight and he's looking to have some kill pressure here. So I do expect a lot of solo bowlers top this game.
Oh yeah. Good little bit of poke there from the Vel'Koz.
And this is going to be...
Looks like he's going to get the kill here too. Although he might not.
Sustain up through these minions. Once the Garen...
He just auto heals. Yep. It's... doing Warwick things, I guess. Now, it's not like Garen doesn't have any sustain of his own. He can leave combat for about 8 seconds and then...
Misstep by Anders here. It's good on
Yeah,
Dustin to take out that range minion.
Starts tanking towers here.
Might Force
He's gone.
very well played by Josh and committing that flash early to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I also didn't realize Anders is gone Ignite on Zin's Shadow, so he doesn't have a flash this game, so he's going to be very vulnerable. But you know they wanna look to fight, which that dive angle there makes a lot of sense. If you think you know he can Ignite and just kind of walk away and let Warwick clean up. But
Yeah.
the Alumni do.
And I think
take the
too,
first
like
blood.
he could like WE, I believe is the combo, or it's like Q, or whatever the poke from Xin Zhao is into the E, which I know is the dash. Just being able to do that, go over to like potentially the Garen where he is, and then get out from under tower that way. Lots of poke here from Vel'Koz, but laner's kind of low on mana, so it's like both of them are gonna have to try and reset here soon.
Yeah, Tron definitely looking to shove this and get a reset going.
Yeah.
I did think Anders was going to come middle and help him shove that, but it looks like they're just looking for a play bot, and they don't see this.
Yeah.
But if the really patient stun from Zera should be able to walk away from this.
Yep.
It's good
A good
patient
little
play
chunk
from
there.
Alumni. Yeah.
Plus the flash
A
heal
good
from
chunk there on
Janna.
Janna.
It's just the wraparound gank.
Going back again.
Here we go again. Round 2.
Run it back.
Fight. And it looks
Big
like the Sivir
knight.
did actually get
Oh,
caught
good
out there.
sidestep.
The volley bear's
Where
coming.
is he? So it looks like the students might be in a little bit of trouble.
Good trade from Nielsen middle.
Oh yeah. Really able to just poke Vel'Koz out so he can't farm the waves he pleases. Vel'Koz catching him out there. Being able to stack his passive on him is pretty big because his passive does true damage once it gets fully stacked.
We're on level 6, so we can expect some fights to start happening top. Well, Garen hasn't reset yet, so he does have the XP advantage. He could look for a fight here if Warwick isn't careful. His fear down could be... If Warwick's not careful here, with no wave, Dustin could look for an all-in.
Looks like Warwick's is just gonna try and not quite shove this, just last hit a little bit here. Now Warwick with his own level 6. Big fighting potential for both top laners. I think in the extended trade, Warwick definitely wins, but the problem is that Garen could potentially burst, but without having backed yet, I don't know if the Garen really has too much damage right now.
Yeah, I think Dustin's mostly just looking to catch a wave and a position where he can reset and Warwick's not going to crash it.
Yeah.
It's good patience by Dustin. They're not immediately resetting when Warwick went off. We got Volibear pathing topside. Warwick needs to be careful because he's in kill range for Garen right now. Yep.
Yeah, here it is. There's the ult. Yep.
It's a really good play from Dustin.
Yeah, the silence from the Garen there, making it so that Warwick couldn't ult back.
Couldn't Q or
and
ult
silence
back,
him. Yeah, and then heal himself back up to above where he needs to be for that Garen ult to kill.
When you're playing as Warwick, you kind of like ingrain yourself in this idea that, hey, I'll take just whatever hits and save all my cooldowns until I'm below 50% health, but when it's Garen and
Those bouncing W's almost able to kill there, and the Q picks it up.
they do need to be careful because Anders is behind them on this red buff, so if they stay for this wave, Anders could look at doing something, but looks like he's could be kind of tricky. I don't think he has much kill pressure.
Now that is Stiver's flash down, which gives him a lot more pick potential
So
here.
yeah, Nick wants to take an extended fight here and just disengage after he.
Stiver's gonna tank tower.
Yeah, they wanna play this through.
Ooh, Ezreal no E.
Yeah. So
But the
Janet got
Janet
the
getting the execute there is pretty worth.
Yeah, I do
the
think the
Janet.
alumni played that about as well as they could once they knew the
Yeah.
Zen was there. He played through the tower instead of backing up into it.
4 gold. Unable to confirm anything though. But he is low enough that he could potentially just go for a dive here, and yep, there it is. Pulling the barrier there, keeping him from dropping any more HP.
It's unfortunate because that's a big wave that crashes for Garen, so Warwick does get one back.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not sure that Garen had reset before that, after that kill. He might have, I didn't see.
Yeah, there's the first by executioners.
Yeah.
Garen.
Which, personally, like as a Warwick player, I do think the early Grievous wounds against Warwick is kind of a trap purchase.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Warwick is healing a lot, but I think you get. I think the damage that you're missing out on for the gold you're investing is just not necessarily worth it, especially when you're pushed into turret. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Like I said, Dustin is a mid to high dying player, so he knows these limits pretty well.
Yeah.
It could be the Warwick lane aspect where he's sustaining a lot more, and you're able to get the Grievous wounds on him a lot more. Warwick in the jungle can obviously just go head to a camp and heal back up, and he's not too fussed.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it looks like he's going for the Stride Breaker here on Garen with that Tiamat pickup on with that Executioners. Fight
You gotta be
happening
careful.
in
Dustin
top
can't.
lane.
Yeah, Dustin can't. Fight
Yeah, it looked like. Well, in the Warwick flash,
Good
you
flash by Warwick, and
oh, he's gonna get ulted. He is, but he's not. Oh, he tried to ult back, I think. That's what. Yeah, on cooldown.
unfortunately, a badly
What
placed E.
The Volibear's A-posing, apparently.
That was a smart wave management too from Dustin.
Oh,
After
yeah.
this kill comes through to step up so that Anders can't walk up to him. A lot of top players sometimes struggle with that. They know they're in a vulnerable position, so they want to hug their tower, but stepping up there prevents them from.
That was a really big catch there, mid to being able to chunk out the Victor, stop his stacking, and hopefully delay his spikes. Also allows the Valkaz to secure a plate,
Yeah.
which gives him just a little bit more gold.
Nielsen going for the Rod of Ages on Victor, which I think is pretty interesting. It's going to be lacking in damage early, which I don't think is necessarily what you want against a mage middle.
Yeah.
You want to be able to, you know, QE him and almost force the reset out because you do so much damage, but he's kind of going this Rod of Ages scaling build, and he's in a bad position again.
Caught here again, but oh, and here comes the Warwick too, so even if he does make it out of this, Warwick's just gonna run up across and run away. It's like Volibear trying to rotate a little bit late, but I think just mainly looking at the setup drag here, and actually it looks like it's gonna be a dive onto the spot tower. Will they be able to read this happening? Looks like they will. Volibear's going before actually the engage goes out, so.
I think they wanted to look for it, but the Xerath's showing right then. They were trying.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to get the dive before Xerath got back to lane.
Yeah. Because with Xerath there, you can definitely just walk away a little bit, press E, and then lock them on down under tower, and they end up tanking a bunch of tower shots they don't need to.
Trade would go to Dragon.
Some people would argue how worth of a trade that is, but I think in the current state of the Void Grubs and that, with how much like push potential and like push presents that you get with even just 3 grubs.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a worthwhile thing early game to give up a dragon for.
Yeah, well, and especially the one Chemtech dragon. You're not getting a whole lot of value. Like the one ocean drake. Jaina caught out. And then just be
Israel though,
careful.
pretty low here.
Sidestep.
Old misses too.
Could chase this down. It's a good flash.
And it
from
looks like they
Jaina.
will.
Stun on the Sivir.
Here comes
though.
Polar Bear too. I don't think Ezra's gonna have.
It's
Oh,
good
the E's gonna hit though.
I do think Volibear wants to fight.
But will Zhao be able to? Oh, the stun coming out from the Xerath. Able to stop the Volibear basically in his tracks. Was that? And then Zhao comes out. And also Xerath's ult, but Xerath ult seemed a little unnecessary in that instance because it looked like the Zhao pretty much had it down, but I guess just a little extra damage to secure that the Volibear dies there. Again, the Valkov is just able to chunk out the Victor enough that Victor can't step up.
Sorry, that's my bad. For those watching, the UNI students do have 2 victories. I forgot to update that between matches.
Ah, yeah. Looks like they're just
Get
gonna
some power.
go for a dive here on the poor Victor. Really unable to do anything.
Yeah.
Warwick just
Or Janna,
running
maybe.
around.
If Garen can get the turret top for this Warwick roam, I mean, assuming Janna walks away, which doesn't.
I doubt that she walks away here.
Garen's able to neutralize some of that though with this
Yeah.
push. Getting this turret's.
And if they
pretty
get
big
first
for-
turret, they get feet off of it too, I believe.
Yeah, if they do secure the feats.
Now it looks old.
Oh.
It's timed ult
It's
there.
the- Well, I think the ult timing was good. It was the Warwick barrier that blocked that.
Oh yeah.
Just that extra little 300 damage. Because Dustin unfortunately queued the tower to take it down faster, so he didn't have the silence for the Warwick.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good on Dakota for recognizing that he can step up there and knows he's got the barrier. Just gotta be careful here. If he gets hit by Azera,
Spell shield from Sivir, just kind of putting in work this whole game. Being able to block some pretty crucial skill shots, I feel.
I don't know that
Does
Alumni
Ezreal
want
walk-
to take this fight.
Yeah, they probably don't. It,
call-
I
the
think it
call
looked
comes
really
out.
good. Yeah, it looked really good with just the Zhao there, but
Yeah.
with
There's
the rest of the student.
good coordination.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the follow-up. Jaina a
Here
little bit
comes
late with the ult.
The Janna sitting still from Xerath.
Alumni are getting caught out. Warwick sustain tanking through this. Volibear's just not quite online yet with just the Cosmic Drive.
Yeah.
The Alumni,
The buffered view there from Warwick. Trying to keep
students
him.
getting a lot of this back with shutdown gold.
Oh yeah,
But meanwhile, the fight turned out better than it needed to for the Alumni up there. But you got Vel'Koz split pushing, catching 2-3 waves down here in a turret. For all that, students come out pretty far ahead.
yeah. I definitely think it was worthwhile here for the students to go for that engage, even if they overcommitted a bit.
Yeah. 'Cause I think
Garen just gonna get poked out a little bit.
all said, Xin Shao gave up a. Not really sure what the angle here is.
I guess get poked out by the Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz also has ult available here too. So if the Garen would have stayed, I bet you the next E that would have landed would have been an ult pop.
He might have been trying to get the Vel'Koz flash out or something, but
Yeah, probably.
At the end of the day, he doesn't really lose much. He just kind of kills the Vel'Koz tempo on the reset.
Yeah.
Janna trying to bait in the Warwick.
A little bit of friendly trolling happening. Spam. Never hurt anybody. Looks like they're gonna try and steal away this red buff too, which is probably pretty
Josh
detrimental
stepping up.
for that the
Big
bully
mistake.
bait. Yeah. And Warwick just going in on it. Head out Victor here.
The Alumni.
Meanwhile, 4
looking
people try and chase down a Warwick.
Alumni looking a bit scattered here. Not sure why they decided to send everybody middle.
Some big value there from that Ezreal bolt too, chunking out quite a few members of the Alumni team, making it so that Janna couldn't really step up at all.
That's the unfortunate side effect of this Volibear build is you can't take much of a hit, and you've got champions like Vel'Koz and Xerath on the enemy team. You're taking a pretty big punch before you're able to get on anybody most of the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate. That's why you want to try to stick to those smaller fights and skirmishes.
Yeah, I definitely think that had Voldabear gone for like a Rift Maker, potentially second item instead of a Flicker Blade, you could definitely have had a little more tank potential. Looks like the Warwick's just gonna get caught out here and die, but maybe not. Never mind, he pressed Q and healed back a bunch of his HP, but
That's the look that the Alumni want to be able to take.
oh yeah,
Shao, eventually out of position.
kind of an unfortunate blast cone there.
He needs to be careful if he shows again, because they got Xerath and Ezreal ults, potentially.
Yeah.
Ezreal's on the
But Ezreal can also just take his stuff off cooldown by just hitting some abilities here, and he gets taken down.
Yeah, so Nick oversteps and ease forward, and I think he eased forward, yeah, because he flashed back out. Then on the other side, Dustin just wasn't able to sidestep the Vel'Koz.
Solo bolo by Vel'Koz.
So they're gonna get it back, and the flash
Yeah.
from the Vel'Koz who overextended his advantage. And we got Warwick fighting, so we're starting Atacon up here.
I don't think that the Warwick out heals that damage from Otacon, but
And even if he does, he'll be on the Otacon for a good 2 minutes or so by himself without any jungle.
Yeah.
line.
yeah. But it doesn't look like the Alumni are gonna try and answer that at all.
Pretty smart decision. I would think Dustin would want to try to get this turret. It's like Chung is waiting
Yeah.
to complete his item here before he TPs bottom. Really surprised if
It looks like it's
the students let this turret go. It looks like they will.
yeah. And it's definitely probably gonna be a mortal reminder, I think, for
Yeah.
this Garen here.
Oh,
And here comes the reason for that. And now it looks like the student side is definitely looking to try and secure this next Drake here, because for them Infernal Dragon is very good. I
a lot
feel
of
like
folk on their team. They can get a lot
yeah,
of
just
Infernal
being able to
frags.
pop that every time. Zins out and completely ignores Volibear just to try and kill the Janna here. Multiple abilities spent killing the Janna, but arguably a very important person to kill because it gets rid of a lot of the sustain, and the heal and shielding.
I think this is actually very curious that the Alumni are choosing to stack bottom like this, because they've got Sivir for wave clear, and if you let the inhibitor go this early, it's honestly not the worst thing in the world. You lose a lot of tempo, and you're probably losing this anyway, so I think you're getting helped out by the
WGM.
Yeah. Valkaz definitely passed geometry in high school.
Just looking to get something done against Ezreal in the middle. But that
Unable to though.
Yeah, 2 items to 1. I don't care if you are
A fully
again.
built Muramana and a Triforce on Ezreal definitely makes him a massive threat.
Students are looking to end the series here.
Yeah. Looks like they might just.
Look at the oh. Yep.
Yep. There it goes. There's their ult.
That's Warwick in a nutshell for you.
Gotta go. Yeah. Warwick. Warwick's walking at people. Oh, gets launched into the fountain. Isn't quite able to see the end of the round.
Yeah,
Sends out just to secure the last.
yeah,
hit.
a pretty comfortable game 3 for UNI students.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I'm not sure if the Alumni were feeling the fearless draft pressure or not.
Yeah, it seemed like they were on some champions that were not necessarily like they didn't seem very comfortable on them.
Or at least as coordinated as the UNI team, which
Yeah.
the students team, which is to a certain degree expected from Alumni in a position like this. And as Nielsen said, they need to get to bed early because they're all old people. So
They're old.
I do
Hey,
feel
they
that.
got the quick 3-0, but I don't know if it went in their favor.
It wasn't the direction that they were hoping for.
Yeah. But either way, it was a fun thing to watch. Both teams kind of go at it. So
Yeah, I do hope that Panther Esports hosts more stuff like this going forward. I think this is just a really nice like community activity, and we have a fairly decent alumni scene. We had a fair amount of interest for the game today.
yeah. I think that's about it. Looks like they're all congregated into one voice call, but it looks like it's just just the current players. I think all the old people went to bed.
Yep. Well, thanks for hosting. I really enjoyed the just the whole format and everything. A lot of our players had been asking all season, this semester and last semester, about they wanted to do fearless drafts in playoffs last semester. They kept asking like, oh, like we're in playoffs now, is playoffs fearless? And we're kind of just telling them the format. And then when we got to finals last semester, the question popped up again after it had been a few weeks was, oh, the finals are fearless draft, right? I said no. And then when we got into nationals, that question came up again. So I think this was like scratching an itch for a lot of the current players to be able to flex some of those muscles that they don't always get to in the regular season. We try to leave a lot of the draft strategy in the players' hands as much as possible for our games, and a lot of times we do try to steer them one way or the other when it comes to comp and draft strategy, but we just still always don't get the chance to see like how deep these champion pools go and what people can play and against comparatively skilled teams, because when we practice, sometimes it will be against alumni, like we'll pull alumni in for our scrims, so there's there's some history there between the students and alumni to a certain extent, but for the most part our practices are just queue up in ranked flex, and whatever Riot tells you you're comparatively skilled against is sometimes it's a stomp, sometimes you stomp. It's kind of a toss up, so I do think these games were fairly close, the first two especially.
Yeah. Well, appreciate the stream. Appreciate being able to do production.
Mm,
Wouldn't
yeah.
have happened without you. So
Yeah, well, I want to thank Cade for helping me get everything set up earlier today so that, you know, relatively speaking, it was pretty smooth, I think, aside from the draft
yeah,
flood.
yeah.
But
But what series doesn't go on without a tech pause? You know?
What
absolutely.
Riot game production
Yeah. What
goes
Riot
on?
game doesn't have a problem?
Absolutely. That's- Anything else you guys wanted to touch on before we head out? I think all the players were kind of trickling out of Discord at this point.
Yep. I think they are. No, I think
I got
both teams played well. I think you can see why our current roster has gone as far as they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can really see the
So,
coordination in the students.
oh yeah, yeah,
Over the alumni. Not that the alumni played poorly or anything. It's just there's a certain sort of
oh
you
yeah.
know unspoken chemistry that you can kind of see when you watch them, and that was really evident
Mhm.
with the students.
And Nate got his Seraphine pick. So
You always love to see it.
You do.
yep.
And it was pretty pivotal in those game two fights. I think just the zone
Oh yeah,
control
for
that it
sure.
offered.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks everybody for showing up and supporting Panther Esports, our current students, and obviously our alumni as well. I think we're gonna head out then.
Bye bye.